I never thought I'd kill for a family that wasn't mine. But here I am, staring down the barrel of my own reflection in a cracked bathroom mirror, hand steady on a gun that feels like an old friend. The woman looking back, Ariana, they call her now, has my eyes, but not my scars. And she's the vessel I stole to claw my way back from the grave they dug for me. My mother-in-law's voice still echoes in my skull like a bad country song. Get out, you worthless leech. Spit flying as she slammed the door on what she thought was her broken daughter-in-law. Oblivious to the wire transfer I'd made at dawn, the last lifeline I'd throw before cutting the rope. That morning, I'd woken up in this body, lithe, unmarred, the kind of frame that turns heads in a dive bar off I-95, feeling the ghost of my old bones ache. It was supposed to be temporary. A black market neural swap cooked up in some Jersey lab for guys dodging DUIs or wives ditching deadbeat husbands. But betrayal has a way of sticking, like gum on a boot's sole in the Newark swamps. My real name doesn't matter anymore. Call me the shadow that slipped in when Ariana's light flickered out. She was the perfect patsy, young, trusting, married to my son, or rather, the son I raised to be a spineless prick who'd married into money she didn't know was poisoned. It started 6 months back, in the sticky heat of a Philadelphia summer, when the feds kicked in our door at 3 a.m. Flashbangs popping like fireworks on the 4th. Boots stomping through the split-level rancher in Levittown that I'd clawed from foreclosures and side hustles. Fraud. Embezzlement, they barked, cuffing me while my husband, let's call him Tom, because that's what cowards like him deserve, huddled in the corner, pretending shock. But I saw it in his eyes, that flicker of relief, like he'd just cashed a bad bet. The money? $3 million siphoned from his construction firm. The one I'd fronted with my inheritance after Dad's mill shut down in '08. They'd pinned it all on me. The shell accounts, the offshore wires, the paper trail that led straight to my desk. Tom and his mother, Evelyn, that venomous old bat with her perm and her pearls, had cooked it up over pot roast and Merlot, forging docs in her basement office while I slaved double shifts at the hospital billing desk. Evelyn was the architect, always had been. Widowed young, she'd clawed her way up from trailer trash in Scranton to queen bee of the neighborhood HOA, ruling with bake sales and backroom deals. Family first, she'd coo, while slipping envelopes to the zoning board for permits that shouldn't pass. Tom was her puppet, strings pulled tight from the day he popped out bawling. Me? I was the outsider, the girl from the wrong side of the tracks who thought love meant loyalty. Big mistake. When the heat came down, they fed me to the wolves, whispered to the DA about my erratic behavior, planted a burner phone in my purse with texts to a Cayman accountant. I took the plea, 15 years in SCI Muncie. Minimum security, but soul-crushing all the same because fighting meant dragging our kid, little Jamie, through the mud. He was 8 then, gap-toothed and glued to a switch, dreaming of Phillies games we'd never afford. Prison was a slow bleed. Gray walls, fluorescent hum, the stink of bleach and regret. Evelyn visited once. All crocodile tears and Bible verses. Dropping the bomb. Tom's met someone. It's for the best. Jamie needs stability. Stability. Right. She meant fresh meat to bleed dry. I scratched letters on commissary paper, begging Tom to fight the appeal. But they went unanswered. Then, whispers in the yard, black market docs. Neural transfers for the desperate. In this age of Neuralink knockoffs and billionaire immortality quests, why not? A Ukrainian surgeon, smuggled in on a work visa, ran a clinic in a strip mall off the turnpike, brain scans, Cryopods. Souls swapped like SIM cards for 20 grand. Desperate inmates chipped in for smokes and candy bars. I liquidated what was left of my 401k through a cousin on the outside. The swap was agony. Electrodes buzzing like hornets in my skull. Evelyn's face, wait. No. That came later, the cold slab under me as consciousness unraveled like cheap yarn. I woke up gasping in a motel off Route 1, staring at hands that weren't mine. Ariana's hands. Manicured nails. Yoga-toned fingers. The kind that typed grant proposals for nonprofits in D.C. She was 28. Single-ish. Engaged to a lobbyist prick named Derek who'd ghosted her after a career move to K Street. How'd they pick her? Random donor match. Or so the doc slurred. Vodka on his breath. But I knew better, felt the pull. Like fate's cruel joke. Ariana's life was a mirror of mine. Pre-betrayal. Ambitious. Overlooked. Pouring heart into a family that drained it dry. First order, reconnaissance. I dyed her hair chestnut, traded the Lululemon for thrift store Levi's, and drove north in her beat-up Civic, windows down to blast Springsteen and shake the disorientation. Philly loomed like a hangover, the Schuylkill River sluggish under sodium lamps. The house looked the same, vinyl siding peeling. Jamie's Spider-Man tricycle rusted on the lawn. But inside, rot. Tom chain-smoking on the couch. Jobless, since the firm tanked. Evelyn holding court in the kitchen. Her voice a whip crack over microwave dinners. That bitch took everything. She'd rant to anyone who'd listen. The mailman. The Jehovah's Knockers, spinning my fall as divine justice. I watched from the treeline. Binoculars from a pawn shop. Heart pounding like a bass drum at the Spectrum. They were drowning. Mortgage payments late. Tom's truck repossessed. Evelyn's investments in crypto scams evaporating. Jamie, now 14, skinnier. Eyes hollow from screen glare and skipped meals. Guilt gnawed. But rage was sharper. I'd wired the $3,000 anonymously that morning from Ariana's savings. The emergency fund she'd built scraping by as a grant writer, tipped off by a hacker buddy from the joint. It bought them a month's grace. Paid the electric so Jamie could game without blackouts. Evelyn's checkbook balance for once. Her smug smile in the rear view as she drove to Mass. Irony? Delicious. That night, I knocked. Door creaked open. Evelyn's face a thundercloud. Who the hell are you? She snapped. Cross dangling from her neck like a noose. I fed her the line. Drifter. Heard about the room for rent on Craigslist, Ariana's old post. Hijacked. Tom lurked behind. Beer gut straining his wife-beater. Suspicious but soft. Rent's $800, he grunted. I nodded, slipping inside like smoke. The air reeked of Pall Malls and despair. Family photos crooked on the walls, me erased, replaced by stock saints. Jamie peeked from his room. Fortnite paused, curiosity flickering before Evelyn shooed him. Living among them was theater, dark and twisted. I cooked chili from cans, cornbread from mix, playing the quiet border, ears tuned to their whispers. Evelyn's secrets spilled over tea. The offshore accounts weren't just Tom's. She'd masterminded a Ponzi from her pyramid scheme days, roping in church ladies for senior wellness funds. The feds? They'd sniffed it out. But Tom was clean, framed me to shield her. Mama's boy to the end. She'd chuckle. But her eyes darted. Paranoia etching lines deeper than menopause. Tom confessed in drunk rambles. The affair started before my arrest. Some barista half his age. But Evelyn nixed it. Focus on the boy, while siphoning what was left. Jamie knew fragments. Dad says Mom was bad luck. Kid carried it like a backpack full of bricks. My decisions? Controversial as hell. I spiked Tom's whiskey with Ambien, rifling his phone for evidence, screenshots of Evelyn's emails to the DA. Bribes disguised as consulting fees. Planted doubts. Anonymous texts from burners. Your mom's skimming again. Watched Evelyn unravel, accusing Tom of sabotage. Their fights echoing like thunder over the Delaware. But the real cut? Jamie. I tutored him in algebra. Late nights at the Formica table. His trust thawing like spring ice. You're not like them, he muttered once. Pencil hovering. I wanted to spill. I'm your grandma.
Kid.
The one they buried alive, but truth's a blade that backfires. Instead, I taught him locks, escape routes, just in case. Tension coiled like a spring in a rusted trap. Evelyn cornered me one gray afternoon, rain lashing the gutters. Your trouble, she hissed, pearls clacking like teeth. I know your type, leeching off good folk. I smiled, Ariana's full lips curving sweet. Good folk? Like who stole $3 million and let a woman rot. Her eyes widened, hook set. That night, the blow-up, her screaming at me, the ghost in the machine, to get out, pounding the door as I packed a duffel with nothing but ghosts. Tom nodded. Defeated, Jamie watched silent, backpack slung like he might bolt too. She didn't know the wire. The $3,000 that morning, my parting gift. Or poison pill. As I peeled out, taillights bleeding red in puddles, I felt the swap settle, this body mine now. Old life a shed skin. But revenge isn't a straight shot, it's a back road with potholes. I holed up in a Trenton flophouse, walls thin as promises. Plotting from a laptop bought with Ariana's credit. Hacked Evelyn's email, easy. Password family1st. Unearthing the motherlode. Ledgers tying her to a ring of elder fraud. Victims' SSNs harvested at bingo halls. Tom's complicity. Forged my signature on the LLC that funneled it. The crime I'd borne? Not just embezzlement. A hit-and-run cover-up from 15. Tom's truck clipping a pedestrian on the Schuylkill Expressway. Evelyn paying off witnesses with church tithes. I'd confessed to the cops back then, drunk on painkillers after a fall, thinking it family duty. They buried it. Me with it. Calls started. Evelyn's voice on voicemails. Saccharine venom. Come back.
Dear.
We forgive. Translation. She smelled the rat. Tom texted coordinates, neutral ground. A Wawa lot at midnight. I went armed, .38 tucked in Ariana's waistband, the weight grounding like Jersey soil. Fog rolled off the bay. Sodium lamps buzzing hymns for the damned. They pulled up in the old F-150. Evelyn's shotgun. Tom hunched over the wheel. You, she spat. Door slamming. Knew it. That money, how? I leaned against the pump, casual as a smoke break. Grandma sends her regards. Blank stares. Then the flood. Docs emailed from my burner. PDFs of their sins laid bare. Evelyn lunged, nails raking, but Ariana's body dodged lithe. Fist connecting with her jaw. Pearls scattering like dice. Tom swung wild. Beer breath hot. I sidestepped. Knee to his gut. Dropping him wheezing. The swap. I gasped. Old reflexes surging. Muncie special. Your daughter-in-law's head. My hate. Climax hit like a nor'easter. Sirens wailed distant. Evelyn scrambling for her phone. I fired once, warning shot. shattering the windshield. Glass raining like confetti at a mob wedding. Run, I snarled. Or the feds get the full drop tomorrow. They bolted, tires squealing blacktop, leaving me in the haze. Pulse thundering. Jamie? I'd left him a note. Go to Aunt Lena's. Trust no one. Kid was smart. He'd bolt. But twists, they say, are God's sick punchlines. Dawn broke bloody over the refineries. My phone buzzing. Ariana's mom. Voice shattered. What have you done? Turns out, the swap wasn't random. Ariana's accident, car wreck on 95, ruled suicide was staged. Evelyn's doing, hired the surgeon, paid in blood money to off her son's fiancé, who'd sniffed the fraud and threatened whistleblowing. Ariana's body?
Bait.
A vessel to house me, the perfect fall guy. Consciousness uploaded post-mortem to tie up loose ends. I wasn't the victim, I was the weapon. The real betrayal? Evelyn birthed me into this hell. But I'd been complicit all along, forged the first check myself. Back when love blinded. Covering Tom's tracks to keep the family whole. Truth reversed. I wasn't innocent. The $3,000? Not mercy, payoff to a PI tailing them. Evidence sealed for the bust. As feds swarmed the house that afternoon, straight out of a Scorsese reel. Choppers whirring. K9s barking. I watched from a diner booth. Coffee black as regret. Tom in cuffs. Blubbering, Evelyn stone-faced. Rights read like a eulogy. Jamie? Safe. Place with kin who weren't kin. Me? Ariana's life waited. DC. Skyline. Grants for the broken. A second chance wrapped in stolen skin. Happy? Tragic?
You tell me.
I avenged a ghost, but wore her face to court. Family's a scam. America's favorite con. Loyalty's the mark. Betrayal the reveal. And in the end, as I drove south, Springsteen crooning Thunder Road, I wondered, whose revenge was it? Anyway, the fallout hit like a hangover after a bender in Atlantic City. Slow. Nauseating. With bells ringing in your skull, you can't silence. I ditched the Civic in a Long Branch impound lot. Cash from Ariana's glove box buying me a Greyhound ticket to DC. The kind of bus where dreams go to die amid pleather seats and crying kids. Her apartment was a shoebox in Foggy Bottom. Bookshelves sagging with policy tomes and self-help drivel, the subtle art of not giving a FCK.
Fitting.
I rifled drawers, diaries in loopy script, confessions of doubt about Derek, the lobbyist who'd proposed with a cubic zirconia ring then bailed for a Senate aide gig. He said I was too intense. One entry read, "Honey, you have no idea." Settling in meant shedding. Ariana's yoga mat rolled tight. Her contacts stitched for glasses that pinched her nose. Mornings, I jogged them all. Monuments looming like judgmental uncles. Lincoln's gaze boring into the back of my skull. For 47 lies ago, I'd mutter. Pounding pavement past joggers in Under Armour and tourists snapping selfies. The swap's aftereffects lingered. Phantom itches where my old tattoos used to curl. Arthritis flaring in joints that weren't mine. But power hummed underneath. Youth's reckless energy. A bank account with 5 figures from freelance gigs. No parole officer breathing down my neck. Work was the anchor. Ariana wrote grants for a non-profit fighting elder abuse. Irony thicker than Jersey fog. I polished proposals on elder financial scams. Fingers flying over keys. Channeling Evelyn's victims into bullet points that screamed for justice. Our elders deserve dignity. Not deception, I'd type. Emailing to foundations with names like Rockefeller ghosts. Checks rolled in. Fat ones, $50K here. $100,000 there, fueling the machine. But nights? That's when the dark crept in. Whiskey neat from a hip flask. Scrolling X for updates on the Philly bust. Hashtags trended, Philly Ponzi. Mugshots of Tom bleary-eyed. Evelyn's perm askew in orange. Karma's a bitch, commenters crowed. I liked them all from a sock account. Anonymous as a shadow vote. Jamie haunted me most. Text from a burner. Where are you? Cops took dad. Graham's in jail. Kids' words hit like gut punches. Raw and underage. I replied sparse, safe. Stay low. Love. But love's a loaded word when you're puppeteering a corpse. Aunt Lena, my sister in spirit from the old neighborhood, took him in, South Philly row house. Cheese steaks for dinner. No questions on the swap. She knew fragments, prison whispers, the miracle recovery, but not the full rot. I wired her $2,000 monthly. Disguised as scholarship funds, watching Jamie's grades climb via report cards emailed in confidence. He wanted to be an engineer. Bridges over rivers that didn't drown you. Proud? Hell yes. But touching that pride meant risking the con. Controversy brewed in the mirror. Was I thief or savior? Ariana's friends circled. Book club wine moms. Brunches at Le Diplomate with avocado toast and gossip. You've changed, they'd say. Clinking mimosas. Eyes narrowing over Derek's betrayal.
More. Edge.
I'd laugh it off. Therapy's a trip, but inside, calculations spun. 1. Sarah. A Hill staffer with bobbed hair and Botox. Probed too deep. Heard about your accident. Neural thing. I froze. Fork midway to quiche. Rumor mill churned fast in D.C. Whispers of black market brain swaps filtering from Beltway biohacks. Old news. I deflected. But she pressed. Contacts in FDA labs itching for scoops. Decision time. Trust or torch. I torched. Late night drive to her McLean McMansion. .38 oiled and ready. Heart hammering like a jackhammer on blacktop. She answered in silk pajamas. Confusion creasing her forehead. Ari? What's? Words died as I pressed the barrel to her temple. Cold metal kissing skin. The swap. Who talks? Voice steady. But sweat beaded. Old me would have trembled. Sarah spilled. Derek's firm. Lobbying for neural tech deregulation. Evelyn a silent investor via proxies. It's bigger than Philly, she whimpered. Cartel of core. Immortality for the 1%. I lowered the gun. Zip-tying her to a banister. Laptop snatched for drives. Mercy? Or method? Left her gagged with a dish towel. Anonymous tip to her boss about security breach. Controversial? Damn right. Extortion dressed as caution. But it bought silence. Deeper I dug. The web tangled. Evelyn's Ponzi wasn't solo. Threads to D.C. Senators greased with elder nest eggs. Neural clinics fronts for data harvesting souls scanned. Sold to AI firms craving authentic psyches. Tom? Pawn? But complicit. Hauling equipment in his rig pre-arrest. The hidden run? Cover for dumping a whistleblower's body in the Pine Barrens. Not some drunk jaywalker. I'd confess blind. Thinking Tom's tears real. Family glue holding cracks.
Now.
Cracks spiderwebbed my resolve. Calls to the Ukrainian dock. Burner to burner. Confirmed. Evelyn commissioned Ariana's suicide. Uploading her echo to bait me. The reliable patsy. You were chosen, he rasped. Accent thick as borscht. Her gift to you. Revenge or redemption? Redemption's a sucker's bet. I flew under the radar. Ariana's passport stamped for a conference in Miami, but detoured to a Keys marina, chartering a Boston whaler with cash. Salt spray stung. Gulf Stream churning secrets. There, in a stilt house off Islamorada, Derek holed up, post-breakup paradise. Funded by dirty grants. I rowed ashore at dusk. Mangroves whispering conspiracies. Glock silencer whisper quiet. He lounged on the deck, my tie sweating, oblivious to the shadow-slipping moorings. Ariana, he drawled, rising lazy. Miss me? The confrontation was pure noir, palms rustling like applause for the damned, conch shells crunching underfoot. I laid it out, Evelyn's web, the swap as spider silk. He laughed, ice clinking. Your MIL? Small fry. The real players? Upstairs. Baby, Congress. Core. The whole rotten apple. Then the ask. Dirt on the neural lobby. Files from his safe. He balked, reaching for a Beretta on the rail, amateur hour. I fired low, knee blooming red. No gore but grunt of pain echoing over waves. Talk. He did. Dossiers on Evelyn's retirement plan, body swaps for the aging elite. My upload a test run. Twist within twist. Ariana knew her diaries had codes. Breadcrumbs to expose it. She'd courted the swap willingly. A martyr play to infiltrate from inside. Hours blurred. Him bandaged. Spilling terabytes to a drive. Me nursing a scotch neat. Tarpon jumping like accusations. Dawn broke humid. Coast Guard choppers distant, his SOS. Clever bastard. I shoved off. Files encrypted. Leaving him to spin tales of intruders. Back in DC. Uploads to WikiLeaks mirrors. Anonymous drops to DOJ hotlines. The machine groaned awake. Headlines screaming, Neural Scandal rocks Capitol. Evelyn's name in bold. Her cell a federal suite now. No bingo nights. But the real high point? Jamie's call. Voice cracking over static. Saw you on TV. Not you, you're. Her kid pieced it. Lena's whispers filling gaps. I confess fragments. I'm the fighter you needed, not the ghost they buried. He cried, man sobs. 14 going on 40. Come get me. Decision, the controversial one. The line crossed. I did. Snatching him from Lena's stoop under moonless sky. Civic roaring south to a safe house in the Smokies. Cash-stuffed go-bag our lifeline. Feds hunted Ariana Reynolds, fugitive in the fraud. But I was smoke now. Old me dissolved in the swap. Mountains folded around us like God's own bunker. The Appalachians a jagged spine of shale and secrets. Far from Philly's flat grind and DC's snake pit. The cabin was off-grid, solar panels jury-rigged from a survivalist forum. Well water tasting of iron and isolation. Jamie adapted quick, chopping wood with an axe too big for his arms. 4 nights swapped for fly fishing in trout streams that babbled like therapy. This normal, he'd ask. Line whipping. I'd shrug. Ariana's shoulders rolling easy. Normal's overrated.
Kid.
This is free. Freedom's price tag? Steep as a moonshine run. Evelyn's trial-dominated cable news, Fox railing, Witch Hunt on Working Mom, MSNBC crowing, Ponzi Queen falls. She lawyered up with K Street Sharks. Depositions dripping venom. That woman, my daughter-in-law, framed us. Lies layered thick. But my drops, sanitized. Sourced, cracked the facade. Tom's testimony gutted her. Mama made me, sniffling on the stand. Jury of housewives nodding sympathy. Sentencing loomed. 20 plus. White collar but iron barred. I watched feeds on a satellite dish. Jamie asleep beside. His snores syncing with the generator's hum. My own heat simmered. Ariana's face splashed in alerts. Person of interest in neural fraud. Tips lines buzzing with sightings. A bar in Bethesda. A yoga class in Alexandria. Sarah. The staffer? She'd spun my visit as a breakdown. But eyes lingered. Derek? Vanished post-shootout. Rumored in Andorra. Laundering lobby cash into crypto lairs. The cartel he named? Shadowy. Big Pharma meets Silicon Valley. Swaps for execs dodging indictments. Psyches pirated for AI avatars. I'd poked the hornet nest. Leaks stinging back. Frozen accounts. IRS audits on Ariana's nonprofit. Whispers of a hit from Evelyn's old church pals. Controversial calls piled like cordwood. 1. Mercy for Tom. Post-sentencing, 10 years. Reduced for snitching. I visited SCI Graterford. Plexiglass between us. His face gaunt as a depression photo. Why, he croaked. Receiver greasy. I leaned close. Breath fogging. For Jamie. Don't make me regret. Wired a lawyer for appeal crumbs. Conjugal ghosts. He nodded. Broken. 2. The kid's future. Homeschool hacks via Khan Academy. Dreams of MIT whispered over S. But uprooting him? Theft from his roots. Or salvation from rot? Debates raged internal. Nights pacing pine floors. .38 cleaned ritualistic. The climax brewed slow, then boiled over in a Roanoke truck stop. Diesel fumes thick as regret. I'd ventured out for supplies, canned goods. Ammo when the tail caught. Black SUV. Tinted windows. Plates from Langley cutouts. Neural goons. Cleaning house. Heart slammed. Old prison instincts firing. Ditch the cart. Bolt for the Civic. Peeling gravel as bullets pinged fenders. Jamie white-knuckled shotgun. What the? I floored it. Blue Ridge curves a blur. Radio blasting NPR irony on tech ethics. Pursuit howled. Sirens. Chopper blades chopping air like judgment. Backroads saved us. Dirt veins snaking to hollows where raviniers once hid, losing them in rhododendron thickets. Pulled over at a waterfall pullout. Lungs burning. Jamie retching bile. They're coming, I gasped, scanning Treeline. His eyes, Tom's eyes. My legacy, hardened. Then we fight. Kid handed me the spare clip. Steady as a soldier. We hunkered. Tripwires from fishing line. Shotgun loaded with birdshot. A .22 for close work. Night fell velvet. Crickets chorusing doom. Footsteps crunched. 2 suits. Earpieces glinting. ARs slung casual. Ambush erupted. Flashbang pop. My shotgun bucking thunder. One down gurgling in ferns. The other charged. Muzzle flashing. Bullet grazed Ariana's thigh. Fire lancing hot. Jamie popped from cover. A .22 cracking missed. But distraction enough. I rolled. Tackled. Elbows grinding gravel. Choking till he stilled. Silence rang. Blood coppery on tongue. We bound the live one. Zip ties biting. His wallet spilling. ID fake as a politician's promise. Neural Corp badge hidden. Evelyn sends regards, he wheezed. Spit bloody. Lie. Her cell had no visitors, but the cartel's reach? Endless. Dawn interrogation. Pliers on pinkies. Questions barked over his whimpers. The upload, who authorized? Turns out. The reversal. I was in the vessel. Ariana was the architect. Her suicide? Staged suicide by proxy. Me the unwilling host to her consciousness. Diaries? Forgeries? Planted post-swap. The real Ariana, fiery grant writer, had discovered Evelyn's fraud. Confronted Tom. Got the hit. But in dying, she'd hacked the clinic. Flipping the script, her mind into my body, discarded post-execution. Mine into hers as decoy. You were the patsy twice, the goon laughed. Teeth gritted. She used you to burn it all. Truth inverted like a funhouse mirror. I was an avenger. I was the mark, dancing on strings of a ghost. Evelyn? Dupe 2. Her Ponzi a sideshow to the neural heist, Ariana's endgame. Exposing the elite swaps via my rage-fueled leaks. The $3,000? Her final wire. From beyond. To tip the family into scrutiny. Jamie? Ours, hers, and mine. The kid she'd never born but claimed in code. Rage curdled to awe. Then ash. I let the goon loose. Controversial mercy. A phone for his call. Watching him limp to the ridge. Our secret shared. Ending? Pick your poison. We vanished deeper. Vancouver whispers. New names. Jamie's engineering dreams chasing Canadian grants. Evelyn rots in Supermax. Tom paroled to a halfway haze. The cartel scorched but smoldering. Me? Ariana's skin fits looser now. Her fire flickering in my veins. Happy. Justice served. Kid saved. A second life unlived. Tragic. Stolen souls. Families fractured. Revenge a circle closing on empty. Debates rage in dive bars from here to Philly, hero or haunt. I raise a glass to both. Springsteen on the juke. We're all just prisoners here. Of our own device. And in that, maybe, the real American dream, clawing free, bloody but unbowed.